I forgot to do a trade review on Friday, and this was a very special Friday. This stock Xtnt went absolutely berserko mode on a Friday in the middle of the day, which is really rare that this would happen. So, I mean, I know I missed this initial move. I wasn't even here. I was like, okay, there's not a lot of volume today. Not really going to trade anything. I ended up getting a trade on the backside in here and then in here. But that was about it. That was after the monster move. Probably a little more risky to risk in here, but I got a nice 50-cent sweep off of here. But this is just such a good example of so many different things. I'm sure all these lines and everything are a bit confusing right now. I actually just did the technical analysis because I knew it was going to take like 10 minutes. But there's just a lot of good examples of volume price analysis that I did in here. There's examples of short squeezes, a bunch of dip buys, and a couple wedge breaks. There's one right here, and here. This is more of like a flag, but I would say that's a wedge. And just so many opportunities to get in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or like 7, probably like 7 opportunities. So let's go over, first of all, let's talk about VPA. I think this is so important whether you're thinking about getting in a trade or you're already in a trade. It helps for sitting on your hands and patience, kind of really understanding why you're in a trade. So I thought there was a nice constructive volume price dip buy in here. As we can see after this, so this came up insanely. I don't know, what was that, like 100% from there. And so we were looking for a A, B, C, D pattern through here. So it came down B, and then we were thinking about dip buying, but I thought it was too early because it needed to consolidate. So people bought in off this, and as you can see, the candle size does kind of validate the way this stock moved. So this is a smaller candle, lower volume. That's totally fine. That is a nice reversal candle. Ramping volume on the downside, meaning that there are still sellers coming in, and then we want this temporary pause, right? So temporary pause right here. So you always want to see a temporary pause when you're dip buying, and then an increase in volume and a larger price candle. So we would have wished for this to be a little bit larger, meaning that there were probably sellers still in here that were getting out. I mean, it was a larger move, and if you would have gotten in up here, you're probably bummed, and you're like, fuck, I just want to get out. So then all of a sudden this massive volume candle comes in and pushes the price 50 cents or so, and then can't break this area, and then sells off back below VWAP. We wanted to see it hold above VWAP. Now at this point you've got a wedge that you can kind of draw out. After you see these come up and bounce and bounce and bounce, you can draw out a wedge, and it never breaks through here. It might have tried to break through here, but you're just waiting for it to find support. The problem is that on this downtrend, there's volume still coming to the market, like downtrend volume. So if big buyers are coming in, they're not going to want to fight a lot of sellers. So they're waiting for these sellers to completely get out. And then as you can see, we have like, I don't know, 90,000 volume from 1 million per candle. So it comes down. Now it's like finding a bottom here, finding support. And here's our first signal of volume price analysis. So volume price analysis basically means that the volume should coincide with the price. Meaning that if the volume doesn't confirm the price, there's an anomaly, and there's a problem there. So I'll show you an example of the volume confirming the price here. As we come down on here, right? This is there's I can't speak right now, but there's a problem with this candle right down here. So this sells off. This has good volume selling off, coming down, right? Above average volume. That candle you have to, it's all relative, so you have to look back on the chart. Always look left. Volume comes down. I mean, the price comes down, volume ramps up, so that's a confirmed downtrend candle. And then volume starts to still come in on the second candle, but not a lot of price movement. If this was confirmed to go further down, this stock or this candle should have resembled almost the same size as this, just a little bit smaller. But no, it remains small on higher volume. What does that tell us? That tells us that sellers are getting exhausted and buyers are coming back in to fight the price back up. So honestly, right through here and off of this candle, this looks like these people wanted to buy for that break. But at this point, I'm not going to buy until it actually breaks that point because it's been denied so hard and it rallied so far. So buyers could have came in here, and honestly, I probably might have. And then the price gets pushed down even further. What's also interesting is that at this point, this is when the bigger buyers are coming in, but now they're trying to create what I call a short squeeze. So shorts are still like looking for a move lower to completely deny this whole trend and get everyone out and dump the stock. However, buyers came in back here, right? Off these levels, buyers came in. You can see it with the ramping volume. However, it couldn't break that price, but they know that it's going to break that price, so they drive it even lower on smaller volume relative to this, right? Smaller volume coming down, bigger candles than over here, but it's still the same volume, meaning that this is not a real downtrend. Okay, this is a dip buy here. So now, as it's getting lower and lower volume, it's slowly going to move into this line, and it's going to pop up and get volume. At this point, you're entering. You know that this is going to reverse. Hopefully, you're going to get up to the previous highs. So your risk to reward is insane here because you might get a 50% move off of this. However, on a wedge break, you're not going to be as bullish as an ascending triangle. Either way, volume ramps. The candles are confirmed by themselves. You could easily, that was just a small example, but you could easily go through the entire trend. There's just too much to cover in here to really do that. I mean, there's just an insane amount of plays here. So either way, right down here, that's just what you can see close up. So that confirms your buy. So let's say now you're like, okay, that's a fake downtrend. You buy your wedge break. Now you're looking for this volume to ramp as it moves up and be about the same as the move higher. So you're getting in around 2/8, right? And you're looking for that $3 mark because $3 whole dollar marks is whole dollar values are gonna show some resistance. So we see a ramp up here. That's confirmed nice volume. Now you're gonna probably be selling in here for your first move, and then you want it to hold this level for the next move, which is this resistance here, move up to this next supply zone and possibly VWAP. Now people are going to sell in here. And now at this point, it's kind of ramped up slowly, and now it's going to dip down, and you want to see it hold this support. And this support comes in off of this level again, where it found support last time, right? And now here's your second dip buy. And another example of constructive volume price. Right, so this comes down on low volume, then this is confirmed, still downtrend, still downtrending, this is still downtrending. At this point, you want to see the volume exceed this sell-off volume. So it comes up. I'm not totally bullish off that move. It could have moved lower, but then this next candle moves through and gets more volume, and at that point, I'm probably going to be buying around 315. Looking for it to break that high and get back up through VWAP, and it does that, and then it holds VWAP. You're selling half up in here, holds VWAP, but then keeps going. You're like, okay, now my stop's down here. I want to hold VWAP, and then you zoom out, look left, and it comes up, boom, boom, boom. Where's the... There we go. Comes up, moves through, boom, boom, boom. Can't break this level again. Now it's at 418, so it just gets rejected and rejected and rejected. So now you draw the trend line wherever that that price closed. This little range is where you want it to see break next time. So now it falls off again. Now you want to see it hold above here, higher lows, right? And you see as this constructs, you're already profiting off this level. As this constructs, it comes down, creates another wedge, and now you're looking for buyers to come back in off this wedge. Another volume price confirmation here. It finds support down here. It's a higher low. I don't know if that's a perfect level to call it, but I like to buy just on the breakout. You can try to dip buy down here, but honestly, I don't think it's a confirmed move until it moves out of here. That's just my safety level. And as we see down here, ramping volume out, which is what we want to see, comes back up, and then the price kind of moves sideways, and that's exactly what happens through here. The volume's moving sideways. It's not above average, it's confirming the price, right? So if you're getting in off this low, at this point, you enter, sit on your hands, and wait for the price to not confirm the volume, or the volume to not confirm the price, and then you can kind of get suspicious. But until then, hold the stock, as long as it's holding its support lines, right? Now it's a VWAP, so you have that as your support. Boom, boom, boom. The price is still compressing. There's not above average volume. This candle does come in, pushes it up and down, cannot break that level. Kind of a bearish move. However, it still hasn't broken VWAP. Holds, holds, holds. And then boom, insane volume to push it back up from 3.6s to 4.19. That's another 50 cents right there. I'm selling in here. And then now it tries to go for the previous highs off this that got rejected so insanely hard. So now if you're ballsy, you're holding a few shares to see if it can break that. It gets denied again. And then this is a great example of a short squeeze, another one. So if we zoom in a bit, the price comes down on what looks like regular volume, right? And then it gets a nice downward volume candle, not as big as this one, smaller, so relative, but then the price gets pushed back up, and then some indecision comes into the market. But then we see some buyers. These are buyers right here. These are people thinking that it's going to push back out, but it doesn't. It gets denied. And at this point, when it's getting denied, shorts are going to come in off this candle. However, this move down is not confirmed by the volume, because this size of a move is confirmed by the volume. This is not. The volume is half the size of that previous candle. So the price gets driven further down. Now it hits the support, the previous breakout point. Now this is the support, and boom, pops all the way back up, breaks that line. You're buying this, your risk is off this candle, so you're at like 10-cent risk to the downside, and you want to see, now this is the greatest part about looking left, is you want to see it break out of this level here. But that's just an example of like buyers coming in and then faking and pushing the price lower to trap people that are shorting the stock. So at this point they're like, oh, it didn't break, I'm going to short the stock. And then now they know that buyers are going to come in off this level, and now the shorts are forced to cover, and is what drives this price higher. And then, I mean, it keeps going and going and going. Now it's breaking this previous high, pushes up through, consolidates, doesn't sell off from here, which is bullish. It's got lower volume. The volume is relative to the price. You know, this is healthy. Pops back up, and then slowly ascends. And at this point, you know, if you bought in down here, you might have trimmed half. But honestly, with this holding this price, this previous resistance, but now support, you might be adding shares in here. It's now at the trend line. Maybe you're adding right in here, and then gets pushed higher, dip buy right here. Price is bought up. That's bullish. It keeps bouncing off this price. And then all of a sudden, an insane amount of buyers come in and push it from 4.92. You might have been in from 4s. So you've got insane risk to reward here. You could easily just sell up here for a huge profit. But boom, pops up to 5.71. You're trimming out here. I mean, I would be all out through here. But at this point on the weekly, if you look at the weekly, it's the importance of looking left on every time frame, right? if you're looking at the weekly, it found resistance up at this level. Weird how it perfectly coincides with this level. Bring it back down to a shorter time frame. And boom, it literally just it just fucking hammer candle, dip bot immediately, and drives to 658. Personally, I would have been all out of here. If I held this, it's lunchtime on a Friday after a slow week, I'm going to be selling up through here. If I'm even holding through here, I'm going to be selling up through here. But, yeah, and then it slowly sells off. You could have bought this dip because it's holding this trend line that we created way back here. You know, it bounced straight off that trend line. I actually bought in at 525, just a few shares. I wasn't expecting much because it's a shorter time frame on the back side. As soon as this big red candle comes in on this high of volume, now this thing's gonna fade. You know, after it has that big red candle. I mean, it's all of this all the way through here on the larger move was so constructive that it's like, if you didn't get into this but you're watching it, this is about as good as it gets. Obviously, it didn't hold these. There wasn't like a longer term trend line that it could have held. I mean, unless it was down here, but like off this view op. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, look at that. I didn't even see that. Nice. Yeah, so you could draw this off the first move. Off VWAP, off the first move. You want to buy the low of the thing. And yeah. Oh wow, how did I not even see that? Yeah, because it hadn't made its move yet. So I was looking at the wrong time. Yeah, it hadn't made its move yet. It was just kind of moving up on low volume. But then once it got volume, that's where you want to buy. That's where you want to put your trend line. Yeah, so that's pretty damn sexy. Oh my god, you can see everything, even from here to here. It's almost like a triangle through here, right? Large scale triangle. Dip buys through here off these. I mean, there's just so many opportunities, and I'm really sad that I didn't see this move till after. But yeah, I mean, there's an example of a short squeeze, example of constructive setups, wedges, trendline dip buys, right through here. Boom. I mean, so bullish off of here. It was down below VWAP for most of this, but as soon as it got this, yeah, I don't know why I didn't see that. As soon as it got this, you draw on your lower trend line, and I mean, and it's all relative. Like, if you're gonna be buying after this whole wedge breaks through, and you buy this wedge, and it makes that move up even that high, that's now your trend line that you want this thing to hold, right? So if you miss this move through here and it still couldn't break out, now you're like, oh shit, let's see it bounce off this trend line. And it's all relative because it took an hour, right? Hour and a half for it to make it to this level. If it comes back down to here and you're dip buying, maybe wait to hold until for like an hour from there. So 8:42 to 9:30. I mean, that's your larger time frame. You can expect to hold this for longer if it pops above VWAP and kind of constructively moves higher. Just move your stop as it goes, you know? If you're already in profit, you could hold it for longer term, even if it's a smaller amount of shares. It could continue to move higher. So it's all relative. Like, and then if you were a little more shaky about it and you just wanted to hold shorter time frame, you could be like, okay, like you didn't get this dip buy. So now you're like, okay, it came back down to this lower trend. I want to buy this dip and then get out up in here. That's totally fine. But it's all relative. Like, this on the backside, if you're going to quickly buy the dip on the backside, which I don't recommend, if you do so, you're going to want to like be in and out, because this move was so sharp to the downside that any dip buy off of trend line or anything is going to be so sharp to the upside and then quickly back down that you just want to be in and out within a minute or so. But if you're looking at the larger trend, you know, you're buying down in here, you're going to be like, okay, I want to wait till it comes up in here constructively as long as it holds this trend line in the short time frame. Longer time frame, I want to see it break this price. And if you bought down at 337 and it breaks 447, you're already up, 30-40%, and it breaks through, you're just holding, you know, until you feel like selling, which is just so crazy. I mean, these plays happen every week, and it's so crazy that this happened on a Friday. But yeah, I guess this video is just about seeing more. There's more than meets the eye with trading, especially with how manipulative the overall market is. It's the big buyers are always going to try to manipulate sellers out of the market, and this is precious information that you have to carry with yourself every day. Is that like it's a game, and they're gonna try to whipsaw you out, but you have to understand that if that price is pulling back, make sure that the volume confirms it. But if you get a hammer candle like this, and it gets ramping volume but no movement, be expecting a higher move, you know. But this can't, the educational part of this whole video can be taught, but it must be learned by the person watching. You must have screen time to understand these things and have these things come second nature. I think what really helped me in the beginning was having a whiteboard or a piece of paper of something that I kind of struggled with the day before, the week before, and read it out before I trade, you know, each morning. Go over what you need to work on. Be like, okay, I'm kind of struggling. Once you get in on your entry down here, you're kind of like, okay, I'm immediately out of profit. It hits VWAP. I'm gonna get out. That's like, I made 20 cents. That's great, awesome. But what you didn't do is really think about the overall. First of all, the overall look of this stock chart. I mean, it's making higher highs. Higher lows. You want to be holding for longer. You want to see if it can break this level or this level. You know, you want to hold through VWAP because you want to see if you want it to hold VWAP, but you want to sit on your hands until you see an anomaly through this section. And yeah, it's just, it takes time. You know, it takes time. And I know for a little bit when I was struggling with understanding volume price analysis, I would get into a trade I would have great entries, but my exits were bad. I would get out too early, you know. I was good at exiting when the stock wasn't doing what I wanted it to do, but I would get out too early. Like this, if this was like trying to break out super like that was kind of bearish. I was seeing that it tried to push through here and couldn't on high volume, you know. But then it held. At this point, you're like, okay, I'm gonna move my stop to the low of that candle, but it held. And then it popped back up through, and that's bullish. So it's just like, I don't know, it takes time. You gotta sit on your hands and wait until the tape, meaning the price and the volume, tells you to get out. Like, for example, the point to get out on this whole trade is not through here. I got pushed back up through, it held this, but up in here, you know, because that's obviously the most obvious, but when you get that big of a candle with that big of a volume, that's an absolute trend reversal. Very obvious trend reversal. And down here is a trend starter. This is a trend starter, you know. I'll never buy the first pop, but I'll buy the grip on the second pop. A, B, C, D. Look at this. A, B, C, B, C, D. But, yeah. So clip this. Take a picture of this. Study this pattern. Yeah.